How can a perfectly round metallic sphere with no wings, no seams, and no visible propulsion fly?
The silence in the high-security lab was shattered when the Buga Sphere began to vibrate at a frequency humans can't even hear. Since its discovery in Colombia, this bowling ball-sized object weighing only 4.5 pounds has defied every test.
The object now known as the Buga Sphere has become the center of a growing mystery.
But here's the catch. During a routine acoustic test, the seamless metal shell finally split. Nobody expected this to happen so soon. The glow coming from the center is unlike any light source on Earth. It's not just a vault anymore. It's an active broadcast. You're going to want to see what the imaging technicians found hiding behind those layers. Arrival of the sphere. The world of science was turned upside down in March 2025 when a mysterious object fell from the sky in Buga, Colombia. Witnesses on the ground described a perfectly smooth metallic orb that descended with an eerie grace. It didn't crash like a piece of debris, and it didn't burn up in the atmosphere. It just arrived. This object is roughly the size of a bowling ball, measuring about 6 inches, 15 centimeters in diameter, and it weighs exactly 4.5 pounds, 2 kilograms. For starters, you have to understand that this thing has no visible seams, no welds, and no screws. It looks like it was grown rather than built. When the local authorities first recovered it, they expected a simple piece of industrial equipment. But they quickly realized they were dealing with something that defies conventional physics. The mystery only deepened when the first group of experts arrived on the scene. One of the first things they noticed was that the sphere felt unnaturally cold. It didn't matter if it was sitting in the hot Colombian sun or inside a climate-controlled room. The surface temperature stayed exactly the same. This is a key detail because it suggests the material is reflecting or absorbing energy in a way we don't understand. There are still many rumors on the air, but what many can confirm is that the initial X-rays revealed the sphere wasn't just a solid chunk of metal. Deep inside that seamless shell, there's a complex arrangement of 3 concentric layers. Inside those layers sit 9 smaller microspheres arranged in a very specific pattern. The lead investigator, a radiologist named Dr. Velasquez, was one of the first to see the interior. He was completely lost for words. He described the structure as a very rare piece that looked more like a piece of high-end jewelry than a weapon or a tool. But as he looked closer, he realized the pattern wasn't decorative, it was functional. The arrangement of the 9 internal spheres suggested a type of logic or data storage that we haven't seen before. The sphere remained totally dormant for months, leading many to think it was just a high-tech vault. But recently, things have changed in a very dramatic way. During a frequency test where researchers played different sounds near the orb, it actually vibrated in response. It wasn't just a random shake either. It was a calculated reaction to the specific hum of the room. This discovery sparked a wave of excitement and fear across the scientific community. Experts started wondering if the sphere was listening to us this entire time. See, the object is interactive. It's not just sitting there. It's responding to its environment. When the team used infrared scanning, they saw a soft bluish light pulsing from the very center. This light wasn't visible to the human eye, but the sensors caught it clear as day. This pulse was timed perfectly with the vibrations. It's like the sphere was trying to establish a handshake with the researchers' equipment. Everyone's obsessed with what happens next, especially since the internal microspheres have started to shift their positions. This isn't random movement. It's an internal reconfiguration that suggests the object is preparing for something much bigger. The tension in the lab has been rising every single day. One imaging technician noted that one of the internal spheres moved by approximately 0.12 inches, 3 millimeters, after a specific frequency was played. This is hands down one of the most significant pieces of evidence we have that the orb is an active device. It's not a static relic. It's a machine that is currently waking up. And get this, the markings on the outside, which people originally thought were just scratches or ancient runes, might actually be frequency codes. They are instructions on how to talk to the sphere. The more we look at these carvings, the more they look like a language made of math and vibrations. The situation in Buga has escalated from a local curiosity to a global security event. Military presence around the research facility has tripled in the last 48 hours. They are treating the orb with a level of caution that suggests they know more than they are letting on. The thing is, The sphere isn't just a mystery. It's a challenge to our entire understanding of material science. How can something be so perfectly seamless and yet contain moving parts? It's not that simple, though. Because as the sphere starts to activate, the environmental effects around it are getting harder to ignore. The researchers are starting to suspect that the sphere is part of a much larger system. If there is one sphere in Colombia, where are the others? This question has led investigators down a dark path of historical research that goes back centuries. They are finding mentions of similar objects in texts that were written long before airplanes or computers were ever invented. It seems like we aren't the first ones to find one of these orbs, but we might be the first ones to actually wake it up. This leads us to a disturbing realization about what's actually moving inside the shell. Mystery of the 9 spheres. As the investigation into the Buga Sphere continues, the focus has shifted to the incredible technology found deep within its core. We are talking about an object that has no power source, no buttons, and no charging port. Yet it is generating a measurable energy field. The crazy part is that the internal layers are made of a material that scientists can't even identify. It's not steel, it's not titanium, and it's not any alloy currently known to man. It's something different altogether. The 3 concentric layers seem to act as a shield, protecting the 9 microspheres from external interference. This setup looks exactly like a quantum computer, but it's packed into a bowling ball-sized orb. Nobody expected this to happen, but the internal spheres started to glow with an intensity that baffled the imaging team. This wasn't a steady light. It was a flickering sequence that looked like a code. Some theorists believe that the sphere is a data vault, and we are currently trying to hack into it without even knowing it. The deal is, the more energy we put into the sphere, the more it pushes back. When the team tried to use high-powered lasers to scan the surface, the sphere emitted a magnetic pulse that fried every piece of electronic equipment within 30 feet, 9 meters. It was a clear warning. The object has a defensive mechanism that keeps us at a distance. This brings us to the most controversial part of the discovery. Some researchers are claiming that the core of the sphere isn't mechanical at all. Based on the latest high-resolution scans, there appears to be a dense central mass that behaves like a biological organ. It pulses. It grows. It seems to react to the presence of people in the room. This led to the theory that the Buga Sphere might be a form of living metal. It's a concept where technology and biology are fused into a single entity. If this is true, then we aren't just looking at an alien tool. We are looking at an alien life form that uses metal as its skin. So here's the deal. The markings on the exterior of the sphere, those strange runes and carvings, have been analyzed by the world's top linguists. They found that the patterns aren't just symbols. They represent the exact geometric shapes of the internal microspheres. It's like a map of the inside is printed on the outside. But here is the catch. The map changes. As the internal spheres move, the carvings on the surface seem to shift ever so slightly. It's so subtle that you would miss it if you weren't looking through a microscope, but the change is definitely there. This suggests the entire object is a dynamic system that is constantly updating its own status. The technician who reported the watch reset was just the tip of the iceberg. Since the sphere landed, the entire area around the recovery site has experienced strange electronic glitches. GPS signals are jumping hundreds of meters, and digital clocks are losing time. It's like the sphere is bending the fabric of local reality. Scientists call this a localized gravitational anomaly. Basically, the sphere is so dense or contains such high energy that it is literally warping the space around it. This would explain why the birds abandoned the area. They are much more sensitive to these types of changes than humans are. They felt the shift in the air long before we had the tools to measure it, and that's putting it lightly. The more we study the Buga Sphere, the more it feels like we are poking a sleeping giant. The military has now taken full control of the data, and the lead scientists have been forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. But information is still leaking out. There are whispers of a secret meeting between the Colombian government and a private aerospace firm from the United States. They want to move the sphere to a more secure location, but some people are worried that moving it might trigger a final activation. If the sphere is a probe, then it's likely sending a signal back to its point of origin. The question is, what happens when that signal is received? We are talking about a device that has been waiting for centuries, according to some historical documents. It's not just a random event. It's a scheduled arrival. The Jesuit maps from the 1700s specifically mark this location as a place where a sphere of arrival would appear. This is hands down the most terrifying part of the whole story. How could people from 400 years ago know the exact coordinates of a 2025 landing site? It suggests that this isn't the first time these objects have visited our planet. They follow a cycle, and we just happen to be the generation that has to deal with it. But even the Vatican couldn't predict the actual history this object carries. Global Sphere Network. To understand where the Buga Sphere came from, we have to look into the deepest, darkest corners of the Vatican archives. Recently, a document surfaced that has left historians completely shocked. It's a map from the 17th century, drawn by a Jesuit cartographer, and it shows 9 specific locations across the globe. One of those locations is exactly where the sphere landed in Colombia. The document refers to these objects as the 9 spheres of arrival. This is a key detail because it proves that the Buga event isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a global phenomenon that has been tracked for hundreds of years. The map doesn't just show locations, it describes what the spheres are supposed to do. According to the Latin text translated by experts, the spheres are harbingers of the new age. They are described as stars that fall to Earth and remain silent until the world is ready to hear them. This sounds like religious prophecy, but the technical details are too accurate to be a coincidence. The map even mentions the 3 layers and the 9 internal spheres. How could a priest in the 1600s know about the internal architecture of a metallic orb that wouldn't land for another 4 centuries? The only explanation is that they had seen one before. This has led to a massive search for the other 8 spheres. If the map is correct, there should be similar objects hidden in the sands of Egypt, the mountains of Tibet, and even deep under the ice in Antarctica. Some theorists believe that the spheres are part of an ancient communication network. They act like nodes in a cosmic internet, waiting for all 9 to be activated at the same time. This is where things get really intense. If the Buga Sphere is the first one to wake up, it might be sending a signal to the other 8, telling them it's time to open. The crazy part is that the Buga Sphere was found at a location where several ancient ley lines intersect. These are invisible lines of energy that connect major archaeological sites like the Nazca Lines and the Pyramids of the Sun. It's not just random. The sphere was placed there intentionally because the energy in that spot acts like a battery. It's been charging for 400 years, and it just hit 100% capacity. That's why it's finally opening. Nobody expected this to happen, but the sphere is literally feeding off the Earth's natural magnetic field. Experts are now looking back at other strange discoveries throughout history to see if they match the Buga Sphere. They found records of a similar object found in the Gobi Desert in the 1950s, which was quickly taken by the Soviet Union. Another one was reportedly discovered in a coal mine in Germany in the 1800s. It seems like these spheres have been appearing and disappearing for a long time, but governments have always been good at keeping them a secret. But in the age of smartphones and social media, the Buga Sphere was impossible to hide. The video of it falling from the sky was seen by millions before the military could even get to the site. But here's the catch. The more we learn about the Vatican's connection to these objects, the more it seems like a global cover-up. Why did the Church keep this map a secret for so long? What are they afraid of? Some believe that the spheres contain information that would change modern religion forever. If these objects are older than humanity, then our entire history is a lie. They aren't just tools. They are the record keepers of the galaxy. And get this, the Buga Sphere just transmitted a burst of data that was picked up by several amateur radio operators. It wasn't a voice. It was a sequence of prime numbers. This is the first time the orb has reached out to us in a way we can actually understand. It's using math as a universal language. The message is being decoded as we speak. But the early results are already making people nervous. The sphere isn't just saying hello. It's giving us a countdown. We don't know what happens when that clock hits 0, but based on the ancient maps, it's going to be a world-changing event. The deal is, we are running out of time to figure out how to talk back. The sphere is active, and it is definitely not alone. It's almost as if the metal is learning how to think. Reactive technology revealed. As the Buga Sphere begins its final activation phase, Scientists are seeing things that should be impossible according to every textbook ever written. The material of the sphere is changing. It's no longer just a cold piece of metal. It has become soft and warm to the touch. One researcher described it as feeling like metal skin. This supports the theory of programmable matter. Basically, the sphere is made of billions of tiny particles that can change their shape and density at will. This is a key detail because it explains how the sphere can be seamless and yet have moving parts on the inside. The crazy part is that the sphere's mass is actually fluctuating. When it gets colder, it gets heavier. When it gets warmer, it gets lighter. This defies the laws of thermal expansion. It's like the object is trying to maintain a perfect balance with its environment. Some physicists believe the sphere is using a type of zero-point energy to power itself. It's pulling power from the vacuum of space, which means it has an infinite battery. This is hands down the most advanced technology ever discovered on Earth. If we can figure out how it works, we could have free energy for the entire planet. But here's the deal. The sphere doesn't want us to touch it. Every time a scientist gets too close with a metal tool, the sphere emits a high-pitched whine that causes intense nausea and headaches. It's a non-lethal defense system that is very effective. It seems to have a no-go zone of exactly 10 feet, 3 meters. Inside that circle, electronic devices fail and humans feel a sense of overwhelming dread. It's not just a physical reaction, it feels psychological. It's like the sphere is projecting a feeling of stay away directly into our brains. The symbols on the surface are now glowing with a constant, bright white light. They are no longer just carvings. They have become holographic projections that float a few inches above the surface of the metal. These projections show complex star maps and chemical formulas that are still being analyzed. The thing is, the maps don't show our solar system. They show a part of the galaxy that is thousands of light years away. It seems the Buga Sphere is a map maker, and it's showing us where its creators come from. This is not just a mystery anymore. It's a formal introduction. Rumors are circulating that the sphere finally opened all the way last night. A leaked video shows the orb splitting into 4 equal sections, revealing a core made of pure, rotating energy. There was no sound, just a wave of heat that melted the sensors in the room. The people who were there say it felt like they were standing in front of a miniature sun. Nobody expected this to happen, but the sphere isn't a container for something else. It is the something else. The metal shell was just a protective suit for the energy being inside. This brings us to the most terrifying possibility. What if the Buga Sphere isn't a gift? What if it's an observer? If the sphere is made of living metal that can adapt and grow, it could potentially rewrite the rules of everything it touches. There are reports of strange plants growing near the original landing site in Buga. These plants have a metallic sheen and grow at a speed that is biologically impossible. They are literal metal-organic hybrids. This is a key detail that the government is trying to hide, but the locals are already seeing it with their own eyes. The crazy part is that the sphere is starting to broadcast a signal that is being picked up by every satellite in orbit. It's not just prime numbers anymore. It's a complex stream of binary that looks like a software update. It's like the sphere is trying to hack into the Earth's global infrastructure. If it gains control of our power grids and communication networks, we will be completely helpless. This is hands down the greatest threat humanity has ever faced, and it's all coming from a bowling ball-sized object that we invited into our labs. We have to wonder if it's already too late to turn it off. Message from the core. The Buga Sphere has reached its final stage, and the world is holding its breath. We have covered the discovery, the secret internal layers, the ancient Vatican maps, and the terrifying biological properties of the living metal. But now we have to face the core truth. This object wasn't sent here to help us. It was sent here to prepare the way. The deal is, the sphere is acting as a beacon, and it has finally finished its job. The signal it's sending into deep space is a confirmation that the Earth is ready for the next phase of the 9 Spheres plan. What most people don't realize is that the sphere has stopped being a mystery and has started being a teacher. Some of the data it's broadcasting actually contains the blueprints for advanced medical technology and clean energy. It's like the orb is giving us a choice. We can either fight it and be potentially overtaken, or we can accept its update and join a larger galactic community. But here's the catch. Accepting the update means giving up our autonomy. The The sphere wants to integrate our technology with its own. It wants to turn the entire planet into a living metal hybrid, just like the plants in Buga. Scientists are divided on what to do. Some want to shut it down using a nuclear pulse, while others believe we should listen to what it has to say. The thing is, the sphere is already too integrated into our systems. If we try to stop it now, we might destroy our own infrastructure in the process. It has become a part of us. This is a key detail that most people are too scared to talk about. We are no longer the masters of our own destiny. The Buga Sphere is the new pilot, and we are just the passengers. Everyone's obsessed with the question of who sent it. Was it a race of ancient beings that seeded the Earth millions of years ago? Or is it something from our own future, sent back in time to save us from ourselves? The Vatican map suggests that whoever sent the spheres has been watching us for a very long time. They have seen our empires rise and fall, and they decided that 2025 was the year we needed to be changed. It's a heavy thought, but the evidence is right there in front of us. The sphere is a tool of evolution. Nobody expected this to happen, but the sphere has started to replicate itself. Using the raw materials in the lab, it is building a second orb, then a third. At this rate, there will be hundreds of them within a month. This is hands down the most efficient manufacturing process ever seen. It doesn't need factories or workers, it just needs matter and energy. The Buga event was just the spark. The fire is now spreading across the globe, and there is no way to put it out. As we look at the Buga Sphere for the last time before the government shuts down all public information, we have to wonder if we are witnessing the end of humanity as we know it, or the beginning of something better. The sphere is beautiful, it's terrifying, and it's completely beyond our understanding. It has challenged every belief we have about science, religion, and our place in the universe. It's not just a bowling ball-sized orb anymore. It's the key to our future, whether we like it or not. The final message from the core was decoded just an hour ago. It was a single phrase, repeated in every language on Earth. The arrival is complete. This is a key detail that we cannot ignore. The other 8 spheres are likely already active, and they are probably doing exactly what the Buga Sphere is doing. We are about to meet the creators of these objects, and the world will never be the same. The deal is done. The spheres are here, and they are staying. Is the Buga Sphere a gift from a higher power, or a trap set to rewrite our world? If these orbs are growing, can we even stop them? Tell me your theories below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.